We now turn to one of the biggest news stories of the last 2 weeks, and that is Burma.
I think you'll find it's called Myanmar.
And the government's refusal to accept foreign aid.
Actually, initially it stirred up a lot of confusion amongst our Mansion loyalists. For example, Lonely Biscuits 88 of Gladstone has written, "Dear the Mansion, I'm perplexed. How is a military dictatorship different from a military junta?"
That is a complicated issue. You know, Michael, this sounds like a job for the News Lab.
The News Lab, Charlie and Michael. Go into the News Lab, Charlie and Michael. Go into the News Lab, Charlie and Michael. Go into the News Lab. No, News Lab.
Well, yeah. Biscuits. A military dictatorship is when a country is ultimately ruled by one individual. For example, here we have the civilians who have to do what one person says or else. However, a junta is a dictatorship that is run by a committee of military leaders. In this case, these civilians have to do what a whole bunch of people do, say, or else.
Nice kitten eyes of Epping queries, but how do things get so screwed up for Myanmar?
Burma. Well, kitten, to answer your question, let us hold a gun to the clock and demand it turn back to 1824, before there even was a junta.
Junta.
Britain began conquering Burma,
Myanmar,
which the Burmese,
the Myanmarians,
weren't very happy about because the Brits refused to take their shoes off when they entered sacred temples. I am not making this up.
He wouldn't do that.
This is where things first went wrong for Burma.
Myanmar. Groundhog 65 of the Mornington Peninsula asks, so what happened next in Myanmar?
Burma. Well, during World War II, Burma
Myanmar
became a fighting ground for Japan, Britain, the USA, Thailand, India and China. This is where things began to go wrong for Burma.
Myanmar. Dr. Fielding of Fort Braxton writes, but did the trouble stop there for Myanmar?
Burma, and no. The country was a democracy until 1962, when General Ne Win installed the first military junta.
Junta!
Now, in 1988, he fell out of favour by cancelling all country not divisible by his favourite number, the number 9. I am not making this up.
He wouldn't do that.
While 45 and 90 kyat notes were valid, 25s, 35s and 75s became instantly worthless. I reiterate, I am not making this up.
Why would he?
It was then that things began to go properly wrong for Burma.
Myanmar. Collie Enthusiast 67 writes, so that junta lost control of Myanmar.
Junta and Burma, and yes. It did lose control, but it was replaced by another junta.
Junta!
These guys held elections in 1990, lost the election, said, sorry, what election? Your mum's an election. And then they just went right on ruling.
Busty Funbags 12 of Perth asks, so why won't this junta allow aid into Myanmar?
Burma, because this junta thinks democracy is so ace that food is less important than holding a referendum. A referendum so special that it's compulsory to vote yes and illegal to criticise. It's kind of like a less subtle Zimbabwe. Now, this would all be fine if it weren't for our old friend Mother Nature. And this is where it went seriously. It's a mallet. It's a mallet. And this is where it went seriously wrong for Burma.
Myanmar!
And unless they can figure out a way to eat referendum ballots or lead an uprising while dying from starvation, then it doesn't look good for Myanmar.
Burma! Fuck!
That's the News Lab!
No, News Lab. Yeah.